Alright, what's up, nerds? First time making a video in a very long time. Let's go. Alright, so remember, the whole point of this part of what we're doing was to parse out this phrase. We're trying to figure out how these phrases parse, and then doing that same parsing, we're exchanging this word for which word? Yeah, elay, elah, elud. So this is from hik, hai, kak, meaning the demonstrative pronoun describing things that are right here, right now. And then we're changing them to the ones that are elay, far away, the ones that you would point out from afar. That, or those, like that. So, how can this one parse? It can parse two ways. How can it parse? When I say parse, I mean gender, number, case. Yeah, it could be dative or ablative, plural. But litus is one gender. What gender is litus? It's neuter, actually. So, it doesn't matter too much because you guys know that is and ibus are the same for all genders. Doesn't really matter what declension, third declension, or first or second declension, is is always going to be there. So the answer for number 8 would be what? If we were to change it to ilay, far away, we would just change his to be ilis, and then litoribus would stay the same. And how would that phrase translate? Yeah, if it were dative, it would be what, Abby? Dative 2 or 4. Well, how would ilis translate by itself? It's okay if you don't remember what litoribus means. Uh-oh, that's bad. Yeah. Those. To those, and then this answer is shores. To those shores. But if we were doing it as the ablative, what would it be, Philip? By those shores or from those shores. Very good. Hike, odia. This is also pretty important to know the gender. Okay? Because odia, when you look at it ending in a like that, you're tempted to think feminine singular nominative, right? But it's actually a neuter word, odium. So this word actually would parse two ways. Once again, nominative or accusative, looking the exact same in the neuter, but it has to be plural, neuter. All right? So how would these change? How would that one change? Hike is the neuter, plural, nominative, and accusative. What's the ilay, elah, lud neuter, plural? Ilas, because it goes ili, eli, elah, elorum, elarum, elorum, elis, 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 elos, elas, elah. So those are the two spots that shows up. So it would look like this, elah, odia, and how would that translate? Kamari. Either way, nominative or accusative, it would sound the same. Hate, hatred. Those, yeah, weird sentence, but still. Those hatreds. Yeah, kind of breaks the brain. But yeah, it's plural, so you'd have to make it plural. Those hatreds. Yeah, what's up, Blake?
It's like height
That is the only weird spot. Yes, that's the only weird spot for the neuter plural. You're exactly right, according to the neuter rule. That's good. All right, another neuter word right here. We got hoax. Hoke, saxo, which usually comes from saxum, which is neuter. So Anna, take us through this one. How would this one have to change? Hoke would have to become... What is this? How do these parse? Not accusative. It's ablative singular, but what gender? Because of saxo. No, not couldn't it. Saxo is only one gender, and we just said what it was. I know, that's what I'm telling you. Don't say couldn't it be. It has to be only one thing. Because what gender is saxo? Neuter. So it can only be neuter. What are the two other parts of singular? Good. It can only be neuter singular. Yes, by itself, if saxo weren't there, yes, hoke could be masculine singular ablative as well. But since it is modifying a neuter word, it can only be neuter singular ablative. So what's the neuter singular ablative of ilay, elah, lud? Very good. So this would just change to ilo saxo, and that would translate how?
It could be date.
No. Because the dative is ili. By, with, or from, not these. Ilay, far away. That. Something you'd have to point at. Ilay, far away. By that By that rock. Good. Okay? Last one, Vincent. You want to take it? Blake, it can't be dative. Because huik is the dative. Yeah, this is hope. It's only ever going to show up in the ablative singular as hope. Yeah. So go ahead. How does this parse right here? Huik carni. I actually just kind of gave it away. Huik. Don't just say yeah, dude. Don't do that. You do that all the time. Don't do me. Give me the answer. Dative. It could be, but this noun. Good. Very good. You learned it like this. Caro, carnus. It's not masculine. It's actually a weird one. It's feminine. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't really matter because you're right. It will just look the same. So what's it going to become? Not Elise. Good. That was good. Going through your chart in your head. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Eli. Dude, that was excellent. Well done. That's the dative singular. Well done. So Eli carni. Now how does the dative translate? Dative 2 or 4. So you'd say to that meat or for that flesh. There you go. Exactly. All right, guys. Good job. That's good review. Now the next thing we need to go ahead and practice is back up here. All right, so this is, of course, the tense that we have learned this chapter. This is the tense that we have learned this chapter. The pluperfect tense. All right, so what we're doing on this exercise is we are taking this verb, as you guys can see in the directions, we're taking this verb in the parentheses. What's up, Carly? We're taking this verb in the parentheses. And we are, hey, would you put your homework on that stack right there? This verb in the parentheses, and we're making it the correct form of the pluperfect. All right? So we're going to do the first 2 together, and then you guys are going to do the next 2 with a partner for a classwork grade. So make sure you're tracking with me on these first 2, okay? All right, so here we go. There are 2 sentences each, because what it's doing is it's showing you that the pluperfect is something that had happened before the next thing. The next thing is the thing that's given to you in the next sentence. You can see that tunk is here, and tunk means then something happened. So the pluperfect is something that happened way before in the past, and then the perfect can be something that happened in the near past, which is what's going on in this sentence. So how would we translate what we see here just left to right? All the fruits by Augustine and by his friends already out of the tree, and then the verb we have here is had been taken away. Because y'all know the context of this. Obviously, we've kind of harped on it too much. They're fruit stealers. And omniapoma is the subject noun. And we can see here we have a big, long ablative of agent. So we know that this is going to be a passive sentence. So how do we make a verb pluperfect passive? How do we make a verb perfect passive at all? Hold on one second. Think about that. How do you make any verb ever perfect passive? Very good. You've got to use the 4th principal part. So, y'all don't know this verb very well. Is this even in y'all's vocab for this week?
I think we learned it from yesterday,
I don't think it's one of the glossary, like one of y'all's actual vocabulary from the chat. I think it's reading vocab. The 4th principal part is, let's just go ahead and just say excutum. All right? So what do we have to do to it? We have to chop off the and we have to make this 4th principal part agree with the which one? Which one's the subject noun? Omniapoma. So the ending on excutum needs to just be excuta. Very good. Now, this is plural because it's all the fruits. So what do we know about the next thing that has to go with a perfect passive system verb? You have to have a version of sum. So if we're dealing with the pluperfect, what version of sum do we need to use? No, not that far. Eramarasarat. When you're dealing with the pluperfect passive, you use the imperfect of sum. That's when you're dealing with a perfect passive infinitive. And that's only in an indirect statement. So this is not an indirect statement. This is just a perfect passive sentence. So we're doing a perfect passive verb instead of an infinitive. All right? So yes, whenever you're dealing with a pluperfect passive verb, pluperfect passive. You use the imperfect of sum, which in this case, aram, aras, arat. But what do we need to use in order for it to be they? Erant. Because that's the third person plural. The fruits had been cut out. All right? And then we can just translate out loud. Then a few fruits.
Were eaten.
Is that passive? It's not future either.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. Erant comes from isti it. Imus istis erant. So yeah, that's a little tricky because it does look like the future of sum, but when it's attached to the third principal part, that is it. It comes from isti it, imus istis erant. Then a few fruits.
8.
This comes from ei, ai, eia. So this is nominative plural. Then a few fruits they ate. Then they ate a few fruits. So that's a little tricky because y'all have so many new pronouns kind of swirling around in your brain. But that's what a is. Okay? All right. This is good, man. This is bringing in everything that we've really learned up to this point onto this one exercise. All right. So here we go. One more together, and then I'm going to set you guys off on your own. All right. Adolescentes paucis tantum pomis blank. And the verb we're making into the pluperfect is this one right here. But we got to find out if more sense would be had if we did it in the pluperfect active or in the pluperfect passive. So do you see anything in here that might be an ablative of agent? I don't see anything that's super standoffish as an ablative of agent. But let's translate left to right and see what we got. Adolescentes, the young men. A few, well, you see a few fruits, and then tantum is such great, or so great. Okay, nice. But what do we need to have here? The verb. What does delecto mean? To delight. So the young men. So perfect passive. That makes more sense. So these, even though the preposition a or ab isn't in this sentence like it is here, these are still in what case? They're still ablative. So, the young men, well, perfect, pluperfect passive, had been delighted by a few such great fruits. All right? So, what do we need to do? We need to make adolescentes match the what principal part of delecto? The fourth, which is delectatum. Now, can I just do this? Delectates. No, it does not take third declension endings like that. We need to make this E, masculine plural. The young men had been delighted. Now, once again, it's plural. So what's the pronoun for a group of young men? They. You're right, A would be. But they. So what would be the version of sum that goes with it? Not sunt. That'd be they have been. How do we make it they had been? Errant. It's got to be errant. All right? So that's this sentence. The young men had been delighted by such great a few fruits, by a few such great fruits, which is such a weird, just like get rid of that word, I hate that. By a few fruits. All right? And then the next sentence, remember, eyekerant, that means to throw away. Yeah, other fruits. It's not passive. That's not passive. They threw away pork to the pigs. Yeah, y'all never learned that word, but that's what porky says, and it's in the dative. To the pigs. So, very good. All right, now work with your partners. Work with your partners. All right, if you guys watching this have not yet tried these on your own, try them on your own before you watch or listen to the answers that we're about to give, all right? All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, group at the, hold on, wait. You're done writing? You're done?
Yeah.
All right, you're done? All right, group in the back, what did you guys get? What was your answer?
We got that young men were thinking that making theft was good.
That making theft was good? So, that's not bad. That's not bad. What did you put this into? Huh? That is wrong. I gave you guys the hint already that this is a... So you can't have this as a... Anybody?
But
You can't have it as a regular verb. This is a neck up. So this is an infinitive. Also, this is your subject noun because it is the accusative in the indirect statement. All right? So you guys did a good job of translating it for the most part. All right? But you were not correct. I'd give you guys like a 7 out of 10. All right? All right, so what'd you guys get at the front?
We got dishonest young men were thinking that the theft had been done well.
Had been done, and then you did fecissa. Your translation and your form of the Latin don't match up. Had been done is passive. Fecissa is active. If you had done fecissa and just said had done well, that would have been right, but that would have been the wrong translation. So you translated it right, but your form of facio was wrong. Yeah. Hold on, we'll get there. I'll show you. What'd you guys get in the back? Think that the theft has been done well. That's good. That's a good translation. But how did you do your verb? Ah, you were close. You were really close. You got closer than they did. You actually put it in a passive form, so I'll give you a 9. But that's not quite right. I'll give you the right answer in a second. All right, go ahead. What'd you guys get? Think of doing theft well? Not right. Unfortunately, not right. Think of doing? Y'all are too advanced. That's a gerund. That's a genitive gerund. Think of doing theft well. I think it's excellently translated, but unfortunately it's too advanced for our level. What did y'all put facio into? You're very close as well. I'm going to give you guys a 9 too. That was well translated, close on the formation. All right, next one. Guys in the back, what did you guys get for your translation of this one? Good. That he was not good at making?
He is.
That's incorrect. This is an adverb, meaning it needs to go with the verb itself. So it's not describing him. All right? That he, and then you have to go to the verb. He was not good is not right. At making, that's also a gerund. You're bringing up a verbal idea. This is a verb. So you got to treat it as a verb in the sentence, even though it's in an infinitive form. So you guys did a good job at getting the basic gist of what was going on. I'll give you an 8 out of 10 for that one. All right? What'd you guys get?
Augustine at last understood that he had not been doing well.
That's correct. But what's your verb form? What did you actually get? Don't do it right now. That's right. That's right. You got it. That's right. Because he had not been doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's right. You got it right. That's exactly right. Perfect active infinitive. That was right. 10 out of 10. All right. What'd you guys get? But you got the right verb form? All right. What did you get translation-wise? How far did you get in the translation? Okay, I'll give you 6. I'll give you yeah, you gotta go fast. You gotta keep your pace up. Yeah.
Augustus at last himself did not understand.
So you went for the literal translation versus the actual first element, second element, third element. You can make it sound smooth. So you said understood himself. understood himself. That's okay. Y'all are fine doing that. I just want you to remember the understood. Why are y'all laughing? Weird. All right, understood that he. That's what I wanted. Just remember the neck up. You always put a that after the neck up. Augustine finally understood that he, and then you did that. So read me your translation one more time. Let me see if I can hear it. So you dragged this over to that. I can see why you're doing that, but remember, once you identify that sort of in the middle of the sentence, there is a neck up verb, you need to translate that as its own thing. Don't bring in words on this side of the clause into this neck up clause. All of this should be translated on its own. Nothing should come in from the outside into that. You should translate this on its own. All right? So yeah, the correct translation of this is what these boys got. Augustus finally understood that he was not doing well, or has not been doing well. All right? So this is an active infinitive that we need to have here, which is phaikissa. All right? Phaikissa. All right, so let me give you all. So 15, 18, 15, 16. All right, good. All right, good job, y'all. Kind of elite level stuff. Now go ahead and get your synopsis. Ooh, look how pretty. So pretty. All right, we're going to do a synopsis together really quick. All right. And then I'm going to give you guys another worksheet. So those of you who are not here, I'll make sure you guys get this, but just follow along on another sheet of paper. You could probably even make a chart on a notebook paper to follow along if you'd like. All right, so here we go. Let's just do this together. All right, do this together. So this was Vincent's group. This was blank. This was. Oh no. This was. Okay. All right. You still recording? All right. So what I'm asking you guys for this time is the first person plural feminine of each of these. Does everybody have this sheet, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So remember, when does the feminine actually come into play? There's only one system that actually matters. Mia?
The last perfect, pluperfect, and future passive.
Very good. The perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect passive. The feminine doesn't matter up to that point, at least formation-wise. All right, so right now, first person plural, present active, we're doing copio, copera, KP, copy. So remember, this is important. You should not start doing this indicative chart at all. You should not start doing the present, imperfect, or future tenses at all unless you can say with absolute certainty the what? The second principal part, which tells you the... Oh, you guys are going to make me poop my pants. What do I mean? What does the infinitive tell you? The conjugation. What conjugation is copera? Third. Because guys, that's weird. That's weak wimpy. Meaning your stem is not just going to be kappa every time. So remember, what does the present active do in the third conjugation? It changes to an I. Capio, capis, capit, capimus, capitis, capiunt. Because it's third IO. You guys remember that? This is important, okay? So the form here is actually capimus. All right? What's the passive? Everything's the same except for the good. Capimer. What about the imperfect? Remember this? For third IOs, remember there's always an I in the stem. Copy. Copie. Bamus. Yes. Remember, it's third IO. I heard you say what? This is a third IO. Remember, the rule of third IO verbs is that there's always an I in the stem in the present systems.
Why is it the E that
Because that's always there for third conjugation. A bombs. For third conjugation for the imperfect, there's always a bomb, a boss, a bot. That's a good note to write down too. If y'all have lost that, the imperfect endings for the third and third IO and fourth conjugations are always a bomb, a boss, a bot. There's just always an E there. but there's always an IE for the third IO and the fourth. So down here in the passive, it's copy a bomber. All right? Now, once again, since this is third, can we use bo bis bit? No. Well, remember, there has to be an I. Copiemus. There has to be an I for third IO. And then in the plural passive, copiemer. All right? These are the hardest 6. I mean it every time we do that. These are the ones you have to think the most on. You can kind of shut your brain off a little bit and do everything the exact same way for the perfect active system and the perfect passive system. Okay? Because remember, how do you know you can find the exact stem for any conjugation, any verb ever? Yeah. For the perfect active, you can always go to the third principal part, knock off the I with a macron, and that's your stem every time. I think there's a macron, yep. Okay. You don't have to think about it. When you're dealing with the present active and present passive stems, you got to think about it. Because conjugations are different. Alright? So, what is the perfect first person plural in the active? Just imus, e isti it, imus, istis erat. What's the pluperfect? Eramus, good. What's the future perfect? Erimus. Let everybody write that down. Alright? So now we're asking for the first person plural feminine. Really what you need to focus on is plural feminine. Because this is going to change the ending of what principal part? This is going to change the fourth principal part because the perfect passive always only deals with the fourth principal part. So that's going to change from coptus to coptai because that's the feminine plural ending for verbs. Alright? It's going to be that for all 3 of these, so you can go ahead and fill that out. Once again, kind of shut your brain off. Once you remember what the plural feminine ending is, you're pretty much set. Alright? But what's the version of sum that's needed for the perfect passive? No, it's not essa. That's for infinitives. This is for verbs. We're in the indicatives right now. Sumus. Why are we using sumus? Yeah, it's plural, and very good. We take for the perfect, we take the present of sum. For the pluperfect, we take the imperfect of sum, and for the future perfect, we use the future of sum. Present, imperfect, future. All right. So sumus, and then eramus, and then erimus. It's that easy, and that's chapter 21. We're like already teaching you chapter 21 before we get there. All right, it's really that easy. All right. So, how do we make sure we don't mess up too much on imperatives? Make sure, not declension, conjugation. Get the conjugation right. All right? There's only 4 verbs I've told you to look out for that are weird, and those are deek, duke, fock, fair, should be an e, but it isn't there. This is not one of those, so how can you find the right imperative here? You just knock off the re, so kappa, take. And then, yep, this is a third conjugation verb. Yeah, third IO conjugation verb. So what does the E change to in the present when you put an ending on it? An I, capita. And that's plural. Y'all, seize, take. All right? Now, I only have in this chart, because this was early in the worksheets, the active and the passive present. But down here, we're going to do the active and the passive perfect, just for practice. So go ahead and just make a little extension here. Perfect. Yeah, but even that one's kind of empty. So up here, let's do the present active infinitive. That one's really easy. That just comes from second principal part. So we've got that. It's just copera, meaning to take. But remember, this is what conjugation? Third IO, which means that when you move from the present active infinitive to the present passive infinitive, you do something different. Copy, you knock off the entirety of the ERE. So copy is the present passive, meaning to be taken. So we got to take, to be taken, and then we have the perfect active. How do we always find something in the perfect active? Go to the third principal part, and you add issa. K, pissa. All right? And then we get the perfect passive. How do you always find the perfect passive? Fourth principal part. But now, don't forget, I've asked you to do this in the plural feminine. Good. You got to make it plural feminine. Kaptai. And then you put the infinitive of su. Kaptai essa. Remember, you always put essa. Always. No matter what gender or number, the fourth principal part is essa is always what makes it a perfect passive infinitive. Any questions about what we just did? All right, we're going to be done for the day because y'all worked hard. Good. Remember, you got your quiz tomorrow. Let me be clear on this. Your quiz tomorrow is going to be exactly like this. Y'all ready? Chapter 20 vocabulary. Just the translations. Okay? Then we've got both demonstrative pronouns. Hick, hi, cock, full chart. Ilea la lud, full chart. And then I've got one of these. So this is a quiz, but this is a big quiz. Meaning you've got a lot to study. Yes. I'm still figuring out what would be best. I think paper would be best. Computer, I can make it on the computer.
And are you gonna put the perfect chart for
Yes, I am. I'm gonna extend this so that you have the perfect active and the perfect passive infinitive. All right. Any more questions before we go? Chapter 20 vocab. Hick, hi, cock, and Ilea la lud. Make sure you've already memorized those, so it should be good. And then this chart is probably what's going to take you the most time. Vocab is going to be bop, 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 bop. But this chart is going to be what takes you the most time. I would just practice one. All right? I would just get out a worksheet or a blank sheet of paper and just make a chart kind of like this. You know, just write down present, imperfect, future, perfect, pluperfect, future perfect. Make an active column, make a passive column, make up some parsing, doesn't matter what, and then just practice.
will it be third conjugation?
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be. So come in ready to do any verb. All right? Any style of verb. It'll be just like this. You don't have to translate any of it. You just got to show me you know what the verb forms are. All right? Guys, good work today. For real. Lots of stuff to be done. You guys did great.